My name is Lee Onimus, and I am honored to serve as Associate Dean at the Stillman School. And I'm very honored to welcome you to the 6th Annual Pirates Pitch Venture Fund Competition, or as we like to call it, Seton Hall's version of Shark Tank. Our Stillman School Dean, Joyce Strasser, could not be here today because of a prior commitment, but she sends her best regards and well wishes to our contestants and our thanks to our judges. This is a proud day for entrepreneurship at the Stillman School in Seton Hall. Since we launched our business model competition in 2010, Pirates Pitch has become a catalyst for many of our most outstanding students to launch their own businesses. These students have also gone on to win other college-sponsored business model competitions, both regionally and nationally. Indeed, one of our past Pirates Pitch winners, Tassine Peterson, will speak to you shortly about the impact that this competition happening today has had on his career as an entrepreneur. Tassine's startup, Notefully, was named one of Inc. magazine's coolest college startups for 2014 after he won the South by Southwest Student Startup Madness competition in Austin, Texas. This contest has been so successful that we launched a version of Pirates Pitch for high school students last fall, and we were fortunate enough to have 250 students apply in 27 states and 2 foreign countries. Today, our 5 finalist teams will pitch to the prestigious panel of judges as they compete for $10,000 in prizes and business services. These student teams were selected from an initial pool of about 30 contestants. In the second step of the contest, these finalists prepared detailed business plans of their ideas. The students have worked hard and are very well prepared. It is going to be an exciting afternoon. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our panel of judges. The judges are Sunny Bathla, a Stillman alumnus and founder of OSB Consulting, Vice President of Virtusa. Sunny is a member of the Entrepreneurship Center's advisory board as well. Ray Hoffman, host and producer of CEO Radio and WCBS Radio AM 880. Shannon Morris, an alumna and president of Sigma Group. Shannon is vice president of our advisory board. Kimberly Weissel, editor-at-large, Inc. magazine. A big thanks to Kimberly for bringing copies of the latest edition of Inc. for the audience. Please make sure to grab your copy on the way out. And Tassine Peterson, a recent alumnus and founder of Notefully, as well as winner of the 2015 Seton Hall University Emerging Entrepreneur Award. Tassine, could you come forward to the podium for a few remarks? Thank you so much, and welcome to the competition.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I want to thank Seton Hall University, the Entrepreneurial Studies Department, and Professor Susan Sherrick for allowing me to come back and share these remarks. And this is really full circle for me, having to be up here a few years ago. I think it was Pirates Pitch 2013 or 2014. 13? It's all one long day. I commend all of the participants for coming up here and sharing their ideas and sharing their vision and taking the criticism that's going to help improve their businesses. I know how tough that can be, and it's all for the best. I think it's probably best if I share what led to Pirates Pitch. I started at Seton Hall a few years back, and student orientation, like many of you had attended. One of the first people I'd met was Dean Pissarro, and I ran up to her after orientation and introduced myself, and I told her, sort of pitched myself. Hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I have this app, I do this, I do that. And she says, well, set up a meeting with me and let's talk more. Managed to get a meeting with her a few weeks later, and spent a solid hour with her. And we didn't even talk about, my educational track. We spoke about family and business in general and educational trends and things of that nature. And towards the end of the meeting, she had introduced me to an entrepreneurial essay contest, and she thought I qualified. I wrote the essay, and that led me to Professor Susan Sherrick, who at the time, and still is doing a great job running Pirates Pitch and doing so much for the students in the Entrepreneurial Studies Department. She encouraged me to sign up for Pirates Pitch, and that that year, I didn't win Pirates Pitch. I came in second place, and there's really competitive students with some really great ideas. And I learned a few things. One, no one likes losing. I came in second place. And it was a little blow to my ego because, I have a business. It's generating money, an app, millions of downloads, but I didn't prepare. So one of the things it taught me was, you have to prepare. Susan Sherrick then followed up and introduced this startup pitch competition down in Austin, Texas during South by Southwest that Syracuse University hosts. And hundreds of universities from all over the country participate. You name it, Columbia University, Carnegie Mellon, a lot of the top colleges. So I knew that I needed to prepare for this competition. I didn't want to go all the way to Austin, Texas, have the support of Seton Hall University, who never stopped believing in me, and come in second place and represent in that way. I wanted to win. So I practiced for weeks. I recorded myself pitching. I revised the pitch deck so many times. I worked with the original advisors that I was assigned or were assigned to me and my business during Pirates Pitch, and used all the resources I can to do the best I can. And went out to Austin, Texas, and won the competition. And later on that day, Inc. Magazine reached out to me and a bunch of other people, and it was a great time. I had an opportunity to go back to South by Southwest the following year to sort of give a talk like this to that following year's participants. And Pirates Pitch for me has been like the gift that keeps on giving. I'm here again, it's full circle. I've had so many other opportunities, and it's lent so much credibility, and it's just been tremendous. So if I could leave you with three things that I learned, to get to Pirates Pitch, I'd say, share yourself, share your vision, introduce yourself. That's how I got the meeting with Professor Sherrick, by running up to Dean Pissarro and sort of putting myself out there. And I'd say, participate, get involved. Pirates Pitch is here. It's a huge platform. We have these massive open online courseworks and online educations and things like that. But, something like this is this can't be replaced by technology. The social atmosphere and environment and meeting people and networking, this can't be replaced. So get out there, share yourself, and participate. And finally, I'd say, as soon as you experience a little bit of success, try to help someone else. Again, I'm here, and it's full circle. I met Professor Sherrick, Dean Pissarro, participated in Pirates Pitch, and now I'm here judging and giving feedback, and so it's really been full circle. I wish everyone much luck, and I hope everyone enjoys the competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Tassine, for your, inspiring remarks. For those of you who don't know me, I am Susan Sherrick, and I warmly welcome you here today. What I find most exciting about the competition is that it encourages our students to put theory into practice, which is the hallmark of a Seton Hall education. Dream it, do it. This is where great businesses like Tassine's become a reality. This year, our 5 finalist teams are an incredibly impressive group of entrepreneurship students. And Tassine, I hope you don't mind my saying this, but every year, the finalists and all the students applying to the contest just keep getting better and better, and younger and younger. We have freshmen in the contest. Today, we have the high school Pirates Pitch. Entrepreneurship is on fire, and we're so privileged that we're here at Seton Hall. We can take advantage of that. I'm going to introduce our 5 finalist teams in the order they will present. Teams, by the way, can consist of 1 to 5 students, and only 1 member of the team must be a Seton Hall student. I would also like to note that Pirates Pitch is open not just to business school students, but to all students at the university, and our finalists have been from very diverse disciplines. Our finalists are Dominique Fortes with Advise Me College Consulting, Austin Lopez, Karan Patel, and Justin Hernandez, Seek Biak. Shalia Lyons, Together We Conquer. Celine Pressler, CoursesDoctor.com, Christian Ziron, and Theo and Harris. Each team will have 10 minutes to present and will be given a 2-minute warning before a timer goes off. Then, the judges are entitled to 10 minutes of questions. The contest judges will be looking for creative and innovative thinking about markets, products, and services. Teams will also be evaluated on the perceived ability to execute the idea and turn it into a viable, profitable business and or venture with significant social value. After the presentations, the judges will deliberate for around 20 minutes and then return to the auditorium. We will announce a first place and second place winner. The first place winner will receive $6,500 and business services, and the second place winner will get $3,500. While the judges are deliberating, we will ask the audience to vote for their favorite team, and the winner will receive $500 audience participation award. Before we begin, I would like to thank the many alumni, friends, and faculty members who assisted in mentoring our students and also assisted in preliminary judging. Although not here today, John Oriema from our Board of Advisors, Tom Basillo, who is an entrepreneurship professor here and our former chair of our advisory board, Dennis Jelmakowski, our newest advisory board member, Greg Waters from our advancement department, and SCORE counselors Roger Ellett, Don Rogers, and John Bizzano. I'd also like to thank Richard Stern, our librarian. I'd also like to acknowledge others who are important to our program. Dean Joyce Strouser, who is not here, Dr. Jason Yin, the head of our management department, Mike Reuter, who is with our leadership department, and I'd also like to especially single out for thanks the Center's Board of Advisors for their ongoing and overall support of Pirates Pitch. As you can see, our advisory board members here today are acting as judges and mentors. And lastly, I would like to thank our student volunteers from the Entrepreneurship Club and Epsilon Nu Tau. I'd also like to thank Luciano Conderi, my work study assistant who does all the technology and makes this contest go so smoothly. Now I'd like to ask Dominique to come to the podium and start the contest. And good luck to all our finalists.
Hi, my name is Dominique, and I am a first-generation American college student and the eldest of 4 children. As you can imagine, when it came time to apply for college, I was much left to my own devices. As much as I love my parents, they were really no help at all. And my mom, despite her PhD in neuroscience, was completely clueless when it came time for this, which got me thinking, international students really don't have it that easy when it comes to applying for college in the United States. 30 years ago, my mom came here for grad school and accepted the offers that she was given. Unfortunately for her, she did not really like the experience that she got, and that was because the colleges that advertise overseas often either refrain from providing certain information or mislead students who are later disappointed when they come here. And unfortunately, this is still a reality today for many international students who, had they understood the true reality of these colleges, probably would have made different choices. And as an SAT instructor, I've realized that this is not only true for international students, but for domestic students as well. I was very disappointed to find that a lot of my students didn't really understand the college application process. They didn't know what they were getting into when it came to applying for college. And that really got me thinking, Hindsight really is 2020. If I knew as a freshman what I know now as a junior, my application process would have been so much easier. I would have gotten more scholarships. I would have known what I wanted to do as a major rather than switching it 2 or 3 times. And had I been able to share this with myself, I think I would have been able to succeed a lot earlier in college. For this reason, I started my own business, Advise Me College Consulting, which provides prospective college students, both domestic and international, with this advice prior to attending college. And based on the feedback that I've gotten so far, many of my clients are extremely enthusiastic about the information that they have received from this program. So Advise Me College Consulting, a low-cost solution to help you find the right college for you. As things stand now, the college application process is extremely stressful, not only for students, but for parents and family as well. Most current college students are saying, I wish I had known. I wish I had known that there were more scholarships out there for me. I wish I had known that maybe I wanted to go to a bigger school. I wish I had known that college loans aren't what they seem to be. I'm going to be paying a lot more when I graduate. I wish I had known. In order to make this college application process easier, a lot of parents are hiring college consultants for their students because, like I said, parents don't really know what the process is like. However, most families cannot afford this luxury. On the lower end, from junior to senior year, that much of advising costs about $4,000 for a package on the low end. And starting in your maybe middle school, 8th grade, it's going to cost you upwards of $100,000 for a professional consultant. And hourly rates, if you aren't going to buy a package, start at $100 per hour and can go much higher in metropolitan areas. Like I said, this is extremely pricey. Our mission as Advise Me College Consulting is to provide low-cost college consulting services to prospective college students and provide current college students with the means of providing these services to them. Who we are. We are a low-fee college consulting company. We charge about $35 per hour to the clients, 20 of which go directly to our college consultants. We recruit high-achieving college students to work as the consultants because they know the ins and outs of their schools. They know the scholarships. They know what the admissions officers are looking for. And in hindsight, they know what they could have done better to prepare for college. They're the best fit for college consultants. And the clients are matched based upon their interests, their majors, and their prospective schools. The hiring process. We require that all our consultants have a minimum of a B+ GPA and excellent written and communication skills. And after they are hired, all the consultants add their university information to the database. All their inside information that typically only they know, they add so that other consultants are privy to this information and provide it to their own clients should the need arise. After this, all the consultants go through training, they watch the training videos, and then are required to complete sample consultation sessions before actually being put on a client. So for each consultation, there's between 5 and 7 sessions minimum that we recommend, just the way that the application process is. This includes completing the application, building a resume, reviewing essays, selecting scholarships, and for special cases such as student athletes, we'd be going over that process as well, even for arts students. And this is where our college consultants really become key. They're the specialists in these various areas. And all of these are conducted over a video chat, making it safe and convenient. In order to maintain quality, we conduct periodic reviews of our consultants, not only with management, but also based on client reviews. This makes sure that all our consultants are consistently up to par. Our market size in the US is upwards of $400 million annually based on the most recent studies. And in India, this really hasn't been done too much. It's a relatively untapped market, but based on going into Mumbai alone, our revenue numbers say that if we tap 6% of this number, we're going to hit about $252,000 within the first year. Competition. Like I said, in India, there's not that much competition overall. The primary ones at the moment are American companies, but those come with American prices, which are not really affordable for many Indian families. And also, they typically target Ivy League students, which only accepts 3% of international students, which makes acceptance for individuals very unlikely. And then there are the Indian agencies. They're relatively cheaper, but typically these consultants don't really know what they're doing. Either they're hired agents from specific colleges, or they're very familiar with the US application process, which, unlike the Indian application process, is very holistic and not solely test-based. In the United States, we do have a lot of competition, and I would acknowledge that. However, our low costs make us extremely competitive in this market. And overall, we're cheaper and we're better. For the $4,000 fee of a typical low-cost college package, which would give you about 20 to 30 hours of consulting time, you could get 114 consulting hours with us, which you could break up among various consultants however you please. And the $35 an hour fee is even affordable on a high school, part-time job budget. For India and the US, the revenues are going to vary because right now we're focusing on India as our primary market. With 200 students per month, we're planning on generating $252,000 annually in the first year, and this is after the $20 consulting fees are taken out. By the 5th year, we plan on having 800 students enrolled per month, and we would hope to break $1 million. In the US, though the demand is increasing, and I've had a lot more people approach me about this program, we're still going to keep our estimates conservative at 20 per month, which will give us about $25,000 in the first year revenue, and by the 5th year, 300 per month with $378,000 in revenue. And like I said, these numbers are conservative because this is not our primary market. Costs. Our primary costs are the startup costs, which between India and the US, legal and accounting should be about $7,000 for the first year. An annual, other than the consulting fees, which I said were, were taken out of the previous slide for the revenue, would just be advertising and site maintenance. Advertising at about $2,000 annually, and site maintenance at about $100 per year with the person that we have who's going to be maintaining the website in the future. And the reason why these fees are so minimal is because our employees are not hired full-time, but as independent contractors, which means that we don't have to pay certain fees that most employers typically would have to. Business schedule. Currently, we've actually completed a lot. We registered as an LLC. We've completed initial employee interviews. Some of our future employees are actually in the audience right now. And we've completed negotiations with Kaplan SAT Prep, who I work for, who are also going to provide discounts on their SAT Prep services to our students should we refer them. This summer, we're going to have our website up and running. It's currently in progress. And we will finish hiring and training within the United States. Also, next month, I'm going to be going to India to conduct the information sessions in Mumbai and Goa. And by fall 2016, we hope to be completely up and running and be consulting on clients. Overall, we believe this is a win-win for everyone involved, both the consultants and the clients. And our hope is to revolutionize the college admissions process, to make it more fair for everyone, to level the playing field, and make sure that college students actually do know what they're getting into. And after establishing these two markets in the US and India, we hope to move to China and the Middle East, both of which I have friends who are interested in considering investing in this company and expanding it with me. Thank you for your time.
Thinking it's on. Okay, thank you. Excellent presentation. I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to start with one, and then we'll go down the line, and we'll see how much time we have left. But when you presented the market size number, you presented a total number of students. Is that what the market size was based on? Do you know currently what percentage of students leverage consulting services now?
In the US or India?
Both.
I don't have a specific percentage, but I can tell you that based on the students, again, that I have surveyed, I teach SAT classes, and I've asked every one of my classes. Some of them don't know what it is, some of them know what it is, but it's just not affordable for them. And they said that should the price go down to something like what I was proposing, they would definitely be interested in something like this.
So it might impact the number of current students who, a lower price might increase the number of students who participate in consulting services.
Yeah.
And also, you mentioned briefly a website. You know, a lot of the things that you talk about lend themselves nicely to a really robust content strategy on a website. Are your rates structured by the hour and packages, or are there membership fees in general, or can you talk a little bit more about rate strategy?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
So the rates that you charge now, you have an hourly rate. Do you require people to come on as like a package, or is it just you can take as many hours as you want? And I guess the second part of that question is, do you have a membership fee that's part of being part of your database and your website of content?
So in terms of the hourly rate, that's actually something that we're trying to change from how it stands now. So like I said, as it stands now, you're required typically to get certain packages, otherwise the hourly rates are really high. So we're steering away from the high rates and the packages. They're not required to purchase a package, though we recommend certain things based on how we break down our consultation sessions. So for example, we have the free initial consultation, and then the first one we'd go over, just figuring out what type of college is best for them. We'd go over the essay during one, the scholarships during another, and those broke down for among those different things and others to about 5 to 7, or maybe up to 9, depending if they need any specialties, minimum for those different services. And then for the second part of what you said regarding the membership fee, we wouldn't require that, but we're considering having, I guess, an alumni network fee by which they can stay in touch with the different consultants and build their network as they grow into college. But again, it would be something very, very minimal, just simply so that they can grow as individuals, because that's our focus, not as much charging additional revenue for things that are not needed.
Okay, thank you.
Very good presentation, and I enjoyed reading this lengthy description of the business. I want to quote from it here, one thing that I wasn't too sure about. It says, each consultant that you bring in or on board will have training, including a role-playing consultation session with management. Now, all this suggests to me that you're going to have to hire first a number of manager trainers, a lot of consultants over the summer, which suggests you're going to have high overhead before you generate any revenue.
The thing is that since they're paid on an hourly rate, they get the fees as soon as they're placed on a client. So the client would pay a retainer for the amount of sessions that they had asked for. So say they wanted 5, they'd pay for maybe 3 up front, and that initial fee would directly go to the consultant. But they're not receiving anything until they're directly placed on the client. And as I've seen with multiple jobs that I've done, on an hourly rate.
I'm sorry, could you hold the mic just a little further up, just to like even there? That'll help.
Okay. Do you want me to repeat that then, or?
I lost the last sentence. Yeah.
Okay. So based on how it is, they're going to be getting the revenue after the retainer. So they're going to be placed on the client, and only after they're placed on this client would they receive part of the fee. So say they picked up 5 hours. They'd get 3 of the hours service fees directly at the beginning, and at the end they'd be paid the rest. But during the summer when they're doing training and things like that, those things are not going to be paid for. And I've talked with the employees that I'm going to be hiring, and they're okay with this because the high fees that they're going to be receiving in return for their services, and the training itself is not going to be so extensive that it would require substantial amounts of fees to be paid in compensation.
Okay, and also $2,000 a year for advertising costs this first year. What do you get for $2,000?
Well, I was looking in different magazines and newspapers, primarily in India, and a lot of the advertising that we are going to be doing is via word of mouth, via information sessions, and the information sessions would be primarily booking a room. But we have individuals that have offered to subsidize us for part of it, if they're for consideration for them helping on in the future and managing the India part while I remain here, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me. Just
Okay.
I'll go back to the idea of advertising in India.
Yeah.
Do you know, have you worked out ad rates and so forth in Mumbai? Because that seems still like a low number.
For newspaper ads right now, which is what we're going to primarily, it would be about $100 for the ad we're looking for. But the other thing that we're doing is I have a lot of family, friends, and relatives in India, and they're going to be doing a lot of this for word of mouth and for free in their advertising in their own businesses. And because a lot of this is, one person from a school does this and then everybody else kind of does it as well, a lot of my cousins as well are going to be advertising this to their schools, and this is going to be free advertising, which makes it a lot easier on me.
That helps a lot. Kim?
Thank you very much for a very well thought out and well delivered pitch. It was great to listen to. I have a couple questions. One is, and then I'll promise to pass. How much of the information that your consultants are providing is school specific, and how much of it is more general?
Well, as far as we can right now, we only have consultants from certain schools since we just began advertising this month for employees. But as far as possible, they're going to be matched up with a university-specific consultant. So, for example, say I had someone matched up with me, then I would provide them with all the admissions process from here because I've spoken with the admissions office. I know what they're looking for. I know what I did when I came here. I know what the specific scholarships are, not only for incoming freshmen, but also for incoming, say, accounting majors. So I'd provide them with that information. And that would be for me specifically. And then if they wanted, they could talk with other consultants from other schools who could provide them with that university-specific information. But the general information that they're provided with is stuff that we train them on beforehand. So they're provided with both, and they can, again, find as much university-specific information as they want, not only from the consultants themselves, but also from other consultants from other universities that pull this, I guess, pre-written information from our database to give to these clients.
Thank you. The other question that I had, I think more when I was reading your business plan than when you were presenting, is why are you launching in both the U.S. and India at the same time? It just seems very difficult and time and resource intensive. And at least on paper, it seemed like your bigger opportunity was in India.
It's primarily because there is the market for both of them. And initially, when I had started this, well, I did the free services for international students, and I charged those who I serviced in the United States. And as I've completed this and I've gotten closer to this pitch, I've gotten a lot of the feedback, and some of it's up there on the testimonials from these individuals who said, wow, this did so much for me. You should definitely consider doing it for other individuals. So I said, okay, you know what? It seems like there's a huge demand here, and I know that especially the consultants are going to be very familiar with this market. It's going to be really easy for them to just jump into. The marketing is going to be even easier because consultants are going to be more motivated to go back to their high schools and say, oh, I'm just doing this thing. I'm part of this new startup that does this great thing for prospective college students. Would you like to be a part of it? And they're going to be getting this revenue as well. And as we start growing, we're also going to be looking into providing referral bonuses to the consultants for this. So this will grow, and the India market as well, since that's already bigger. We already have our focus there, and it's going to be really easy to start up there. Since there's both of this and the incentive on both parts, we figured it'd be fairly easy to launch both simultaneously.
Hey, Dominique, great presentation, very interesting concept. How would you manage the operations in India?
Well, some of it I would oversee from here, but as I mentioned briefly before, I would have someone overseas who would be, on the ground, primarily doing the marketing there, but a lot of the marketing and, the legal aspect and the accounting aspect there. But the rest, the training and everything, I would all be doing that all from here, if that clarifies me.
And then how are you going to recruit these consultants from various schools?
I'm sorry.
How are you going to recruit the consultants from various schools?
Actually, that was probably the easiest thing that I had to do, because once you say $20 an hour, everybody jumps. And within 2 days of posting this, not only on my Facebook, by sending it out via email, I got within 2 days more than 20, 30 recruits who were excellent hires, frankly. And the other area that I got recruits from is I attended a Beta Gamma Sigma conference this past, I think it was winter or summer, and Beta Gamma Sigma is top business students in the country attend this conference. It was a global leadership conference, and I got all their emails. I reached out to all of them, and all of them at least looked at the email. I got a really overwhelming response from those who wanted to do the program, and they actually, some of the individuals are on other executive boards at their school. They reached out to those students who want to do this as well. And the amount of overwhelming response I've received from those who've, networked with other students who might be interested in this, I've gotten those responses. And later on, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to go to various career fairs and at various schools so that especially East Coast and West Coast schools can get involved in this program, and also reach out to, the career centers, the admissions offices, and see if they can help me with this.
Thank you.
Great job, Dominique. And congratulations. It seems like your idea is pretty much being validated right now with some of your current consulting work. You mentioned in your plan that one of the primary constraints is ensuring you have enough consultants and time to support the vast amount of interest. How do you plan on, and I believe this may have been answered, how do you plan on making sure you have enough consultants to support this influx of students?
Right now, it's been a lot of talking with our potential employees and seeing how much they can balance. And I was surprised to find that a lot of them said that they'd be more than open to adding additional hours if need be. And on top of that, what I've realized is that while I might, hit a point where it is going to be a little bit much, there's no problem adding a waiting list. Sometimes having a waiting list for something shows how much value that it's added, how much people want it. So as we keep growing, I'm going to keep reaching out to consultants. And as I said, people are jumping at this opportunity. And right now, I haven't had enough time to reach out to as many schools as I would have liked to. But I see my response going even higher within the next few weeks, the next few months.
And can you talk a little bit about the technology involved? I don't think I may have overlooked it, but I don't think I read anything on the cost of the website or to what extent are you leveraging technology. You're accepting applications via the website, but are you leveraging technology in any other ways?
Yes, actually, my close family friend of mine works in IT, and he's allowed us to kind of, piggyback on what he's doing. And he's going to do a lot of the intra-site network for us. We're going to have an intra-company network that we can put all of this information on. We can have specific files on students so various consultants can comment on them. We can have, like I said, the university-specific information. So that would be the intra-company network, along with some other things as well. And then we'd have our website, which would allow clients to apply. On the website, we'd also have, a blogs to increase our reputation among clients so that they would say, wow, they're doing these things. They have given this advice for free. What more would they do if they could give us one-on-one training? On top of that, we're also offering specific services, which I believe I mentioned more in my my written piece than in my PowerPoint, but we're offering these additional services based upon what a lot of our potential employees said that they wish they knew. For example, we're going to have a financial management classes for very low prices, and all of this done via the web, via video chat, via various, like you said, technologies, and capitalize on these new web platforms to conduct these things, and make it manageable overseas and domestically.
One last question. The fee that you're charging, are you charging both India and the United States the same fee?
Yes, we're charging them the same fee. And again, based on the clients that I've surveyed, they'd be more than comfortable paying these fees. Though other individuals I've talked to have asked that I raise this fee, maybe internationally. One of the goals of this company is to keep the fees as low as possible, because that's what we're looking for, is we're looking for development in the students, not as much to make, excessive fees over what is absolutely necessary.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from Austin Lopez, Karan Patel, and Justin Hernandez, and Seek Biak. Will you please come to the podium? And good luck.
Hello. And so first, I would really like to thank the whole team, Pirates Pitch, Ms. Sherrick, for providing this great opportunity for our company to demonstrate our service and our mobile application. So with that, I want to begin. My name is Karan Patel,
My name is Austin Lopes.
Justin Hernandez.
and our slogan is Master Your Journey. So what is SeekBeak? SeekBeak is a mobile application that compares transportation services such as taxi companies, limos, and etc. With just a simple touch, we're able to compare real-time prices of taxis and limos through our application. And most importantly, we're able to complete the transaction of the whole ride through our app. And this is really important because there's other companies out there, which we'll further explain, that don't provide this ability.
So some advantages to SeekBeak. Well, first and foremost, we get over that barrier of surge pricing. Nobody likes to get their prices jacked up on them because it's the weekend or it's the holiday. And Uber and Lyft implement this in order to get more bang for their buck and to take advantage of their consumers. Now, being that we're partnering with taxi services, there's no such thing as surge pricing. Also, it's more secure because of insurance purposes. Uber and Lyft do not claim their drivers as employees, and for that very reason, there's many gray areas within their insurance policies. Now, taxi services, in order to become a taxi service, have to have insurance policies implemented because they're the owner of the cars and the drivers. It also is a safer way to go because taxi drivers, are usually using this profession as a way to pay their bills. Unlike Uber drivers, who most of the time are looking for that extra buck on the weekend or at nighttime. Also, they have more experience because the taxi services have been in this industry for a long time compared to Uber and Lyft, who have only been around for a couple of years. Also, there is more screening behind taxi services because for Uber and Lyft, you only have to be of the age of 23 and have a few years of a clean record. So next, it's more sustainable. Taxi services are primarily 24/7. Now, if I'm out at 2 a.m., let's say on a Monday night, is there going to be an Uber around for me? I would never know because Uber and Lyft work when they want to work and where they want to work. Now, taxi services are primarily 24/7. So if there's one around, you can e-hail it and go on your way. Also, it's a lot cheaper for our target market of college students because we are using Google APIs to get the exact amount of distance you're going to travel, the amount of time, and give you in a roughly exact amount of how much you're going to pay, unlike Uber and Lyft, who are giving you a rough estimation and a range of your price, trying to get the extra bucks in.
So how will SeekBeak succeed? We're charging 5% per transaction of each consumer that takes the whole payment method and goes through. And the potential to have advertisements in our app is great. So just how in Twitter and in Instagram, they have promoted tweets. We can promote a company in our app. So a company can go on the top, we can advertise it. So let's say that if you're in South Orange, it's going to show a top bar that says Quick Taxi. You will click it, go through, and quickly complete a transaction. SeekBeak serves as a very valuable marketing tool. And this is really important because it's just so difficult to find taxi companies, look them up on Google. Most companies don't even have any reviews. And the companies that do, they might not be great. And it really gives a biased point of view of what the tax industry is actually like. So what our app does is allows all these companies to be advertised within the app. And consumers are easily able to see what the reviews are, and they can look through the map, what's nearby them. So it's very simple. And we're trying to provide the most efficient and convenient method for all of our consumers.
So some of our competitors, we have Flywheel and Curb, who are the same idea. We're a ride-sharing platform. However, they're not as scalable as we are. Flywheel, for example, is only located in San Francisco primarily and offer around for a couple cities around that. However, what about us on the East Coast? We won't be able to use such a platform as this. That is one advantage we have over these companies because we're a lot more scalable because as you will see, we are across the nation. Uber and Lyft are other competitors, but we get to compete with them because of those earlier advantages that I stated.
So this is a data statistics page. And what this is showing is that from 2009 to 2014, the revenue of taxi companies has actually been increasing. Now, many people would say that Uber and Lyft have definitely taken a great hit on the whole taxi industry. But the taxi industry has actually been growing. And even though it's not updated until 2014, because Statista wasn't able to provide that, it's been going up at a constant $0.33 billion a year, a rate.
Now, as far as marketing is concerned, we're currently targeting 64 colleges. We have over 200 college ambassadors and 150 taxi partnerships. Our goal is to reach 1,000 college ambassadors and 700 taxi partnerships by the time we release in August. Now, as far as what these college ambassadors will be doing is posting promotional flyers on their billboards in their college campuses, hosting small events, and just spreading the word via mouth and social media. Now, once we release, what we will be doing for our customers includes promotional codes, discounts, and even referrals for our friends. For example, let's say on Instagram we say you'll get $5 off on your next ride if you tag 3 friends. Our customers will tag 3 friends, and after that, those 3 friends will search us up, they'll learn more about us, and even though they might not use us right away, they'll at least have our name in their minds. Now here is a map of all of our locations that we're targeting. Now it's important to note that we're just not starting in very small locations or even in one coast. We're starting all across the nation. And because of this, once we launch, we're going to have a large amount of momentum. And because of this, we're very scalable, unlike our competitors, where they're only starting in very small locations, such as San Francisco for Flywheel.
So how much capital will SeekGeek actually require? So we have been spending approximately $600 to $700 since the past 6 months when we began. Incorporation costs, there's Google Apps for work. There's a chart here, pretty difficult to view, but there's marketing costs, there is Google App Engine, and there are cloud servers to actually host the actual app. And so we estimate that according to those percentages, and when it adds up, it's going to cost about $9,000 to actually begin. And how we will break even, and we receive this question very often. Within the first week or two, after promoting our whole company through our whole college ambassador base, it's going to be really simple to acquire this fund back. So it's going to take, it's going to require money to make money.
So here today we have a special treat of unseen user interface pictures in which we haven't even shared with our taxi partners yet. So as you can see, there's the welcoming screen. You can add your account information, your credit card information in order to go about that cashless transaction everybody's looking for. Also, there's going to be the map, and where you'll have the taxi companies pop up in different colors, in which you'll be able to click on them, see the reviews of the driver, then go about choosing your distance, your location. Then you'll get a set price like there is up top. And from there, you'll e-hail your taxi company and go about your way. And now we would like to go onto our website. So, all right, sorry. So here's our website for those of you who want to spread the word to your friends. They could follow us here. They can see what SeekGeek is about. They can also see the user interface and what it's going to provide us with. Also underneath, you can follow our progress and see our growth of how many college ambassadors we have, how many colleges we're taxi companies we're partnered with, and what cities we're located with. You can see why you should choose SeekGeek. And also, we would like to go into our Twitter page, which we hope you all follow. And as you can see, we keep it updated regularly. We post new news, blogs, how we're doing and how we're going about this. Just today, the infamous surge charge. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want to be surcharge 9.9 times more than what I should be paying. So I hope you guys can follow us on Twitter and follow us master our journey while we're trying to help you master yours. Thank you.
Testing. Good job. How long ago did you launch the Twitter page?
Twitter page, we launched it around November,
November?
earlier than November.
What type of promoting have you done to gain 12,000 followers?
Okay, so we got college ambassadors from back then, and what we have done is, with our base of college ambassadors, they have been, promoting our app to all of their friends, their colleagues. But that was one thing. The second thing was that we have marketing interns, and in a combination with college ambassadors and marketing interns, it comes out to be over 200 people. And in the past, we've already had, in the whole company, there are about 25 to 30 members. And some have gone, some have come in, and they've been all the time promoting the whole company. And so, from that whole time, we have received 12,000 followers. Also, we have followed many people, and then, sometimes we will unfollow them. And that also, it boosted our whole follower base.
Got it. So what you just said was this was another Twitter page and you changed the name of it, if I understand correctly.
Repeat that again?
This Twitter page belonged to another company and you changed it?
No, it's just from us promoting it, and as well as following other people, and then they'll follow back in turn, or other taxi services as well that have a Twitter page will also follow us, and as the word gets out.
Could you explain a little bit about who Braintree is?
I could not.
You mentioned splitting your revenues with Braintree at 2.
Oh, Braintree, correct. Yeah, so what Braintree does is, let's say that there is a $100 ride. Braintree is going to be taking a 2.9% off the initial transaction. And so what this means that it's going to go down to $97.10. And after that cost, the taxi company will come in, take the 95%, while we'll be taking the 5%.
Is this an already launched business? You have...
This is not already launched.
So when you mentioned you have taxi cab partners and you have other users, what are they using? And what are these partners doing? You had numbers on your website. What?
Yes, okay. Those weren't users. But in terms of taxi partnerships, so we have been constantly cold calling taxi companies for a few months. And every day, we receive about 3 to 5 taxi partnerships. And so that's how we've accumulated that, the 150 amount. And we're always trying to continue. And by August time, we're trying to partner up with about 700 taxi companies, and these are all agreements. And something that's really asked a lot is, how will these companies remember, that a few months down the line that we still exist? Well, we have a marketing team, and then we also have a client management team and a sales. Client management team consists of about 4 to 5 members. They're all part-time, or they're in college as an intern, and they keep in constant contact with all these tax companies so that they don't really forget about us.
Okay, thank you.
Great job, guys. I'm a habitual Uber user. I think I take about 15 Ubers a week. So I love this. Part of what scares me about Uber is they have a lot of issues with the Department of Labor, because a lot of labor unions are now suing Uber, and then they have state-regulated issues on what is an employee, what's not an employee. So this would solve that. And you notice now, like New York City has their own taxi app with a taxi company that's called Easy Taxi, and they're all trying to create regional apps like, what'd you say, Flywheel. So for you guys, I like this that you're trying to promote this nationally through these college ambassadors. So what are you giving these college ambassadors that they're doing all this work for you?
So these college ambassadors are serving as interns, marketing interns. So they're receiving experience, and they're unpaid. And what that means is that we have to teach them, tutor them, And that's why we have so many members in the whole company, so that we can have time, arrange that time. The head of client management can keep in touch with the client management team. Marketing, head of marketing can keep in touch with the rest of the marketing interns. And we kind of made a branch system where, Justin, who's the head of marketing, he might teach like a few people, and then it's going to go down. So it definitely is it requires work, because unpaid interns, it's very complicated, and we try to solve that issue.
Just to add something real quick, once we launch, they will be giving discounts and other promotional codes that are only exclusive to them, such as just more discounts often. In addition, they love the company itself because it's just something new and revolutionary all by itself, and the fact that they can be a part of it is just amazing to them.
So you said you have 30 members?
Correct, 30 members.
What are those 30 members?
So the 30 members are, of course, us three. There are also many high school students, and then we had job applications. So we use internships.com, looksharp.com. We've received over 650 applications overall. This includes financial analysts. This includes client management team, developers, sales interns, and many more. There are web developers and whatnot. And that's how we've acquired those 30 members. And
they're all working for free?
No, so they have equity in the company. So a web developer, or let's say an app developer, might get 2 or 3% of the whole company.
Interesting. And where are you guys running this from right now?
So the whole team is actually mobile. And we have meetings, it might sound insane, but we've had meetings at 9:30 p.m. to like around 11:30 p.m. since the past 4 or 5 months, every single day. And that's how we get in touch with the rest of the team. We use something called Uber Conference, where we always are getting in touch with each other. And if a certain team wants to hold a separate meeting, they can just call that number, and it just goes straight to the conference call. And the other person, let's say that they're located in San Diego, they can just get on the phone, call the number, and it's easy as that.
I promise this is my last question. So you guys have these 154 taxi partnerships. What does this partnership entail, and how are you getting the pricing information from these taxi companies?
So these partnerships, they're more like agreements. So we get in touch with these companies, and we have about 10-15% acceptance with the companies. Because many companies don't like them cold calling, but once we cold call, and if they're interested, we'll put them down, and then we have taxi partnership documents, and all these documents, they're already legally verified. So we already had a lawyer who took care of this, and that was pro bono, because one of our members in the company works at a law firm. So that was that.
Thank you very much for the presentation and for so far very patiently answering a lot of questions. I'm going to follow up from Sunny a little bit because he asked a question I wanted to ask. On the taxi partnerships, I don't understand what the taxi companies have agreed to provide for you or do with you going forward. What does that partnership exactly consist of?
So, and this is also referring to Sunny's last question, and this contains like the pricing and the fees. So once we call a taxi company, so for instance, one of the ones that we recently partnered up with was Princeton Black Limo, Princeton Black Cab. They give their pricing information. So for instance, to get from Princeton to, let's say, EWR or JFK or something, it might cost $100 to go that distance. That information, with like the help of our backend developers, is created, or it's made into the algorithm for that specific company. So if they go by a certain formula, so maybe a mile might cost like $2 or $3 or whatever the number is, that's already locked in. So when the consumer side of things, when they see like the front end of the actual app, they can complete your transaction. So of that Princeton Black Limo, and they're going from this to this location, it's going to show that $100 fee there, and that's how we work things.
Thank you. My other question is, I understand your rationale for wanting to be like nationwide at once, but on the other hand, if this is like many software projects, it won't be perfect the first time. And then you've got to fix the problems everywhere at once, instead of going deep into one location, working on it till everybody loves it, and then spreading out. So I'd like to hear your rationale behind that decision and how you will iterate if you're dealing with, as you hope, 700 taxi partners on day one instead of a dozen.
So our competitors, Flywheel, Arrow, Curb, they're not scalable. And this is why they've really been failing. Their apps aren't properly designed. They're owned by bigger companies, like Curb is owned by a company called Verifone, if you've heard of it. They're owned by these bigger companies, and they're not scalable in the terms of they might be only located in a few cities. Their apps aren't built properly, and they're not able to get many customers. Since we want to be scalable, we're trying to attract the biggest customer base as possible. And if we just are releasing in like a small location, let's say in the tri-state area, we can't actually get that brand recognition that we actually want, because we want people to know what our company is about. Just like how in Uber was released everywhere around the United States. Yeah, so in San Francisco, then it started growing out, branching out, and they started, back in 2009. But now, they're covering like a huge location, and we don't want to, since there's such a huge a dog in the whole market, we don't want to fail by only releasing in, let's say, one or two locations. So this is like a huge problem that we face, and we decided that if we release in around 64 or these college campuses, these cities, it would be much more efficient.
Nice presentation. But going back to, you mentioned Verifone and app development. What do you know about developing an app for this that Verifone, a multi-billion-dollar company, doesn't know?
Okay, so I'm not the actual app developer, and we have front-end and back-end developers. And we have around 4 front-end developers, 3 back-end developers. They have master's degrees already. They've gone through all this. There's 2 of them that already work in Apple. They work part-time for our company. That's how we've started to develop our actual app. So we have a huge base of many developers that are all already interested. And how are they actually, what do they gain from working part-time? Well, they have their equity in the company. So one of our back-end developers, he has 3% in our actual company. Another one has 2%. So that's how it works.
All right, now I see in here in your presentation that says here, to our potential investors, future shareholders, and partners, we will be the first ones to say that we do not know everything. I would like each of you to address what's the one thing that you really need personally to know about this that you don't quite know yet.
What part that we don't know about this whole situation?
Yeah. What to each of you? What is that? The kernel of? I'm not quite sure about this. Where does that stand for each of you?
Well, considering I'm head of marketing team, one thing maybe my concern would be college ambassadors, whether or not they don't promote properly. Because again, I'm not physically there. I'm only calling them. I can contact some of them physically that are near the state. But let's say a student at UCLA, that might be problematic. But I'm confident that they'll be able to promote it very well, and because they're very interested in the company as well.
So my unknown area is all the developing that goes on, because I'm part of the client management team. So I get in contact with the taxi services, and we talk about the ratings and so on, and how we can go forward and getting better ratings for them as well. So I'm part of the app and the user interface. I have yet to get in contact with the developer. So since I'm part of the client management part.
And I'm the chief executive officer. I founded SeatGeek, and we have these daily meetings so that I can get in touch with members like Justin, Austin, our Jeffrey. He's head of client management, and I always get in touch with them so I know what they're exactly doing with their team. And so everything's running smoothly. And we have these conferences every single day because there might be a certain misconception that they can address in the actual meeting. And it's a remote team, so it's very efficient, actually, because we use something called Basecamp, which allows us to manage the whole team, assignments, the to-dos. We use Google Apps for Work, which handles the whole emailing. Google Docs is extremely helpful. Google Slides, Google Sheets to record, the whole, how many taxi companies we've contacted, how many have said yes, how many have said no. So we take care of that.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from Chalet Alliance, Together We Conquer, which is a social entrepreneurship idea, a little bit different than the others.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shalia T. Lyons. I'm here studying sports management with a certificate in entrepreneurial studies, as well as a minor in Africana studies. So my business is Together We Conquer Life Skills Basketball Camp, which is also a nonprofit organization. So essentially what Together We Conquer is, it's an all-day basketball camp, total skills basketball camp from about 9 to 5. In addition to just a basketball camp, we offer professional and personal development workshops. So here's just a daily rundown of our events so you can see. So from 11 to 11:55, we have test prep. And depending on what age group you are in, depends on your test prep. So if you're in high school, then you have SAT preparation. And if you're in middle school and elementary school, it's more of a math and literacy program to kind of get you up to par. Then we have more basketball activity, lunch, and following lunch, we have our workshops and mentor bonding. Our workshops also depend on your age. So it could be an interview workshop. If you're younger in middle school, it can be a workshop about, finding what you like to do, finding what your dream is, finding what your passion is. If you're in high school, it's also about the recruiting process. A lot of the times we see athletes don't know much about how to get recruited and how to get in college. So we have a workshop on that. In addition to getting into college, we have a workshop on career options. What can you do after college if you don't make it to the NBA or WNBA? So here's just our agenda for the day. We're going to talk about the problem that we see in Essex County, the solution, our value proposition, our financial summary, who is our competition, and how we're going to exactly get there. So the student athlete. There's a 75% to 95% ratio. This 75% is the amount of inner city athletes, black athletes, that actually graduate college. And the 93% is their white counterparts. So if you have an athletic team, a basketball team, who usually make up 2.3% of the school, but make up 56% of the athletic team. So of those 56%, only 75% of them are graduating. As compared to all of the other teams, 93% of So the CEO of the NCAA said this quote in an article I read recently about the New York Times. And it was, in urban areas, the ability for a student to be fully prepared for college by the time of their senior year of high school is seriously compromised. For me, I was born in the suburbs, born and raised in Jackson, and for every guidance counselor, there was maybe only 50 students. After working and interning at Westside High School, which is actually right down the street in South Orange, for every guidance counselor, there was about 300 students. So as a guidance counselor, it's hard to see the people that's in that gray area that want to go to college, but that's not quite there. And that's who this camp, that's who we want to reach out to. That's who our target market is. And the last percentage is 1.2. That's the amount of athletes that actually make it to the professional. So why are students not going to college? The main reason is because they can't afford to go to college. And the second reason is other. This other reason includes having or being married, having a pregnancy, or being incarcerated. And those are the students I also want to reach out to, because I don't think your life should stop there, once you get married or once you have a baby. And I think you should still go to college even after being incarcerated. So of course there's problems, and we have a solution. So our solutions are really fixated in our workshop and the time of the camp. So the camp is a 1-week camp ranging from around 9 to 5, and we'll have an early program so that students can come early and leave late. We made it this time so that students would have a reason to go somewhere without getting in trouble. In the summer, you find that there's nothing to do. If you don't have a job, you find yourself hanging out with friends, and being in an area like Newark, you can find the wrong group of friends. So we want to kind of take them out of that comfort zone and put them in this all-day camp so that we can give them something to do and also give them the tools to go to college and succeed in college. So in our workshops, we want to find the right balance between academics and athletics. Oftentimes, students are just athlete, 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 and forget that student push. That they forget that, one, they have to get into the college with their SAT scores and their average grades, and two, while they're in college, you have to maintain a certain GPA. Raising SAT scores. By having our test prep classes, we want to raise these SAT scores because they don't have that. Whereas in my high school, I was able to take an SAT class. These students have no type of prep. If they want any SAT prep, they have to pay for the class, and often that money is not there. We want to present them with various career options. Oftentimes, that most athletes are clustered in the same nature because they think it's easy and they want to, just get through college so maybe they can, attend the draft. So we want to start opening their eyes to what else can I do? What are my skills? What are my abilities? And what? And last but not least, we want to show them how to properly research prior to visiting. Oftentimes, I work with the Seton Hall women's basketball. Oftentimes, we receive recruits. They don't really ask me any questions about what the school has to offer, any academic resources that the school has to offer. They want to know they're going to get playing time, how many students are on the team, if they're going to get gear and their uniforms, and who we're sponsored by. I want to start raising questions. How many hours of tutoring can we receive? Do we have an academic advisor? To get them not only worried about the athletic part of college, but the academic part of college. So I know this is a little bit difficult to see, but I wanted you to get the idea of how we came to find. So we used what our customer fears were, and in a sense, we have 3 different sets of customers. One is the parents of these students. 2 is the actual student athletes, and 3 is the people we want to reach out to fund the camp, the grants, and the different types of businesses we want to partner with. And we went with their fears, what they want and what they need, and from there, we wanted to show what they would get out of this camp, which is tangible resources, a mentorship opportunity, and different, workshops to what they expect, and different types of workouts, physical workouts. So then from there we go into our benefits, which is a little bit separate from what other camps have to offer. Because 1, we're the only camp that offers benefits. 2, we academically and athletically. 2, we also offer benefits into a learning environment. We want to change the way of thinking, change the way of learning, and we don't want you just to learn about what you do physically to make yourself better, but mentally and emotionally, because that's the part. So here's a list of my financial summary. The first question that this usually raises is, how is the expense so low for a camp? What I found is that most camps charge for the coaches and whoever's working. For me, I'm the sole camp director of the camp, and every counselor is going to be on a volunteer. So that $560 is the amount that we'll allot for each counselor, and at the end we'll be able to give them somewhat of a stipend. And as you can see, the grants and corporate donations They increase each year from 5,000 to 7,500 to 10,000. The summer, because with experience, we'll be able to have grant writers and people that reach out to corporations for a living grant. For the first couple of years, I'll still be in college, which works in my favor because I'm able to enter different type of things that hopefully we'll be able to fund this camp for the 2 years. And once we get that money, we'll be able to hire an official grant writer who will work different type of donations. The camper tuition is currently set at $50. For the first year, we want 35 campers, 45 to 55 campers. Also, as the years go by, we want a 1 week program and 2 or 3 weeks. So as you can see, the other expenses for the most part stay the same, except for the equipment and the supply materials. For the equipment, we're going to try to buy everything in the first year, and for the next year, we're going to look out more to how we can improve our technology. So in the future, we want to have a website that has different workouts that you can do at home and different type of resources that you use to help colleges, search for scholarships, search for anything that would help you get into college, and as well as looking for what our competition. As I stated before, TWC is different because we have a workshop. We have workshops that's not only for the athletes, but it's for athletes that want to do that, want themselves professionally as well as personally. What I did was I compiled a list of different camps in and around Essex and Essex County. So what we have is what we offer and what other camps have to offer. And as you can see, other camps don't really offer youth empowerment or mental. We think that this is very important. After working with the basketball team, we feel as though they lack this type of internship. They don't know exactly what they just kind of want to come to college free, and they don't know what to do with after that. So we want to kind of help them find that plan B.
Comes on a little. Okay, thank you so much. That was a great presentation, and I love the concept. Just to help me understand, after the student comes to camp for 1 week, what happens after that week of camp?
So after that week, they'll still have their mentors to contact, and we'll still further help them with their college process. So if they're coming in as a senior, upon, graduating the camp, we're going to work with them to see if, okay, what are your grades? How can we get you into college? What colleges are you looking for? And if they're not there athletically, because we work with coaches as well. So if this coach sees, maybe they're not there athletically for a full ride, then we can work on getting them an athletic scholarship or scholarships depending on what they're good at, or writing essays, and however we can get them to apply to college and still get them in college. And while they're in college, we want them to continue looking for scholarships.
Thank you.
Nice idea, nice presentation. I see here in terms of your summary of financial projections, the first estimate's $5,000 in grants and corporate donations. Now, without the donations, or without hitting that very closely, you operate at a loss. How can you be sure you're going to be getting that number in grants and donations?
So what we're going to do is, if we notice that we're not getting that number in grants and donation, we would have to, increase the price that we're charging the campers. And I would only increase it by maybe $10, and now you'll have $60, which is still lower than what our competitors charge. And in regards to making up that $5,000, what we're going to do is open up new different type of revenue. So we're looking to work with the New York Liberty and having them maybe sponsor 2 campers to come, and having different places in around the area sponsor you.
Thank you for a well thought out presentation. I have a question about your one group of customers, or the actual athletes themselves. From the way that you describe them, the recruits coming to Seton Hall, they don't even seem curious about academics. So I can understand concern on the family's part or their high school teacher's part that these kids have to get a good education in addition to playing their chosen sport. But do the students themselves think that they need this? Like, they have to put their hand up to go, and from the way that you've described them, they may not see the need for test prep or, resume building, those sorts of skills.
So that's kind of why I had to have an athletic camp and kind of have these workshops integrated in there. Because if you just have a leadership and development camp, they're not going to go. But if they see that it's an athletic camp and that there's coaches there and their teachers are pressuring them to go, then they'll come to the camp because they want to develop themselves as an athlete. But while they're there, these workshops are required. So that's kind of how we get them in the workshop. And these workshops are geared towards changing the mindset that they have. And that's one of the things we want to do. And we're bringing in college kids and even the mentors. The mentors aren't just college coaches, high school coaches. The mentors are students that didn't get to go to college. And we want to show them the wrong way so that they can see the right way.
Thank you for your presentation. I admire the passion. So how are you creating awareness for this camp to get the word out, recruiting the mentors, the counselors, and I'm assuming they're all volunteers, right?
So what I first did was I thought that I would have the camp from ages 7 to 17. Then I realized that was a little too broad, so I decided to narrow it down to our target market would be middle schoolers, but we weren't necessarily going to turn anyone down. So what we're doing is we're working with middle schools in the area to hand out our pamphlets and hand out anything related to us to get these students involved. And a lot of the things that I do is I go to the basketball parks right outside and talk to these kids and see what they want to do, what they want to see in a camp, and how we can make this camp better for them. So a lot of it is person to person, and your average, brochures, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everyone loves Instagram. They're always on Instagram. So if we get them to follow our Instagram, we'll get them interested in that. And this, if they eat at this particular restaurant, so we're working with this restaurant to say, hey, you see these kids, and if they're going down the wrong path, send them to this camp.
I think this is a fantastic idea. You know a little bit about my background, my personal interest in NCAA and recruitment, and I know some of the challenges there. I have to, disagree with the one comment to an extent about student athletes coming over, and I'm not sure what the statistics are on anything like that, but student athletes coming over and not necessarily having an interest in the academics and coming purely for the athletics. I know NCAA championship winners that have left universities to go to other universities purely for academics. To kind of go off of a little bit of what Sonny was just inquiring about, given any thought into partnering with other university basketball coaches that go out and scout and who can identify some of these needs or candidates that may qualify or fit demographic that you're looking for, given any thought to forming partnerships or anything like that?
So of course, my first partnership I'm trying is Seton Hall University. And Seton Hall University, those basketball coaches are the first coaches to, they're going to host that recruitment workshop, to show what recruits look for, the scouting percentages, what they're looking for. And what I've also decided that we're going to try, maybe not in the first year, but within the next couple of weeks or the next couple of years, is spending the last day on strictly a tournament style towards the end of the day. So we can invite college recruiters from all over, of course, depending on the time of the year of the camp. But we'll have these recruiters come in and take notes on the students and what they see, what they can improve on, and then we can further that relationship. So if they see the student that, hey, he's pretty good, what are his grades? We can work with them and build that relationship, and maybe that student will have that opportunity.
Yes, it did.
I just want to note that our dean, Joyce Strausser, has come in to the contest, so welcome, Joyce. Now on our fourth contestant, Celine Pressler, HorsesDoctor.com.
Yes? No? Yes? Close your eyes, and I want you to think of your favorite pet growing up, whatever it may have been. Dog, cat, bird, turtle, snake, whatever it was. And think about the love you felt for that pet, and how you would have done anything to keep them safe and healthy. Because they weren't just a pet, they were part of your family. For me, growing up, that special pet was a horse, and my horse's name was Ellie. And when Ellie got sick and I didn't know what to do, it crushed me because I was helpless. My project, horsesdr.com, is a mashup of Angie's List and WebMD for horses. My project is for Ellie. Good afternoon, my name is Celine Priscilla, and today I'll be presenting to you for your consideration horsesdr.com. Horsesdr.com, a website and app, will work to improve at-home early diagnosis of horses while also preventing unnecessary calls to the vet, and when a vet is necessary, providing reliable references so that you can be sure that you're hiring someone that you really trust with your animal. The following video is going to highlight how equestrians and equine pros feel about the idea of horsesdr.com.
Horsesdr.com for passionate equestrians of all ages.
Horsesdr.com is a website and complimentary app that allows people to search any symptoms their horse might be displaying, and it also allows them to rate or find an equine professional, either in their direct area of residence or outside of their area of residence, in any city or state around the country. And it fills a need that is not currently being met in the equestrian community by connecting the whole equestrian community into one global database.
I love my horse, and the fact that horsesdr.com has an app that I can go on and check any possible symptoms she has makes me know that I can always be assured she's in tip-top shape.
I have been in this business a long time, and I truly believe that being on the internet is the only way to stay competitive in this industry, because the industry has changed. Tony Boyd, Boyd Training Stables.
I've bought and sold dozens of horses throughout the U.S. and in Europe. And my biggest concern when I'm buying a horse is who's going to do the vet check. Normally, because I'm not familiar with the area, I have to rely on either the broker I'm using or the seller. It would be wonderful if I could go to a site, research a veterinarian that has reviews, and contact that person directly and have them do my vet checks. It would just eliminate a little bit of a concern on my part as a buyer.
Educating equestrians in order to improve horse care while offering a reliable reference source for equine professionals.
So what are the services provided by the site? Well, the first is the symptom checker. There, equestrians can go on, type in any symptoms their horse may be displaying, and it'll provide them with likely diagnoses as well as easy at-home remedies. So to put this in perspective, a lot of times you'll call a vet, they'll come out and tell you your horse just needs 3 days of rest, but they'll still charge you $300 for that visit. So this is a way of kind of troubleshooting that where you can try to diagnose the problem yourself. Now, in cases there is a professional that's needed, and that's where the Rate or Find Your Horsey Helper comes in. So here you can search by city, state, or zip code for any type of equine professional, and you will also see references that have been left by other equestrians who have previously used this person. So like any time when you hire a vet, you want to be sure that you're getting the highest quality care in order to prevent repeat visits. Now, the site initially would just have these first two main features. However, there is a lot of potential for expansion. The first is in Horsey How To. So these short little video tutorials would be training on basic horse care, and it'd be a way to really make owning a horse more plausible and more possible for the general people. There's a lot of people who love horses but don't know where to start. So that's where the site would come in. The second is the buy and sell. So anyone who is an equestrian knows that you constantly need new equipment, and it is expensive. So this would be a specific feature in the site for equestrians to sell and buy gently used equipment at a discounted cost. Again, bringing down the cost of owning a horse. Now, looking at the market analysis, I first direct you to the center portion, if you can see, but if you can't, it's 3.6 million equestrians registered with the United States Equestrian Federation. These are the equestrians who are currently on the competitive circuit. It doesn't take into account the double, rather nearly triple this many who own a horse merely for pleasure. So many people think owning a horse is really just a rich man's sport. That's not the case at all. The majority of people actually own a horse as like another family pet. So really what the site is doing is helping to bring down that cost of owning a horse. And in fact, 1 in every 63 Americans is tied back to the horse industry. So many people think it's a niche and you would never know, but The horse industry is a lot vaster than people realize. So the competition. This is interesting because with the equine industry, it was very slow to adjust to the tech phase. And in the last 5 to 7 years, the shift has begun, but there is no site just like horsesdr.com, and that's why. So we would really be at the forefront of this movement. However, you can see that there are other options, but none of them are specifically targeted for horses, and none of them are going to be as organized in their search results as horsesdr.com. Now the customer groups. There are 3 main customer groups. The first is those equestrians that visit the site for free, and their traffic is vital to the site's success. The second is equine businesses, and they would pay to advertise with us on the site. We would have a variety of different advertisement packages, number of banner ads, impressions, pop-ups, etc. And the third is the equine professionals who would register for the site. So for $9.99 a month, they can create a complete profile, and they would populate at the top of relevant search results, making them more easily discoverable to new potential clients. Now, marketing would happen in 4 main phases. The first is partnerships. There are a lot of major equine organizations whose mission is very similar to ours, to promote the equine sport, to keep the costs down, and to keep horses healthy. So we're confident that partnerships with these organizations would really help our own brand equity. The second is publication and advertising. So there's a wide array of horse magazines that horse people actually still read very commonly. And so we would want to advertise in these magazines to kind of draw people from the print ad online, as we're seeing everywhere. The third is social media. If we're going to be a website, we need to be on social. That's where all the young people are. That's where we want to be. And the fourth is personal contact. So with something like this, really going to different equestrian competitions and events and speaking to people one-on-one and explaining to them how we can make it possible for them to care for their horse at home with our website is so important to really getting the name out there and growing our success. So these are required funds to start horsesdr.com, and we projected over a 3-year period. It would be a little over $51,000 to get the site up and running. The majority of that goes into app development. So app and website development is obviously the backbone of the entire business. So we want to make sure we're putting the most money into it to make sure we're creating a very good quality product. This is kind of the rollout table of how that would look over 3 years. In the first year, we would focus in on the website development specifically. In the second year, the website would be in a beta phase. We would be fixing any kinks and ticks, etc., and start app development. In that third year, the website would move to a monetization phase, and we'd start to finish up the app. However, we do understand that apps can be a little bit trickier, and we project that it may take into a 4th year to really get that up and running at a fully functional state. Now, here's your financial projections with our multi-revenue stream. So between the marketing, advertising packages, as well as the different equine premium members who are paying to have their full membership on the site, you can see that just in 2 years, we would not only have made back the initial investment, but would already be turning a profit. So you can see that each year over year, profits are growing steadily, little by little. So it's really a financially sound investment you can feel comfortable in. So, healthy horses and happy owners, that's what it's all about. HorsesDR.com is for passionate equestrians of all ages who want to take the best possible care of their horses while still being smart with their money. So why not jump on and gallop into the future with HorsesDR.com.
Thank you. Great presentation. So I understand the classified membership side of the revenue stream in the business where you're going to target and market equestrian professionals. What I don't understand is the equestrian MD part of it. So the doctor, the content, where's that's going to come from? Or how are you going to get content into your website, into your application?
So for the content portion, we've actually advised with a website and app development company to kind of find out where it would be that we would curate all this content. So some of it we could load in ourselves. There are things that we project to be very common problems. So as an avid equestrian myself, I know what things are a common problem, and those would be things we've uploaded to the site first. We're also working on ways to kind of use keywords to generate back in search results, but we would start with content. So it would be a combination of the two, but initially it would be a lot of content upload on our part.
Do you have any partnerships with equestrian veterinarians?
Veterinarians? I have reached out to many veterinarians. I'm from Arizona originally, but I've now been in New Jersey for 4 years. So I have reached out to veterinarians in both areas to get their feedback on the idea, how they think it would function best. Partnerships really can't be secured if I don't have a physical product. However, it's kind of one of those verbal things where we have spoken about it and agreed to, what they would be looking for, and that's how we speak the business model.
Well done presentation. Could you explain to me a little bit about how, I have a kid, she wants a pony, how horsesdr.com makes owning a pony easier for me?
Okay, so that is a large stretch to go from no knowledge to completely owning a pony. However, it's one of those things where the horse is initially targeted for equestrian, but we want to be able to branch out to a larger market share. So by giving more information on things like the horsey how-tos, it's a way to really teach people what sorts of things they would need to know to own a horse and to kind of judge if they would be ready to own a horse. So we could do things like a calculator. How much does it typically cost? You're going to board and shoes and food and all things that if you had no idea, you wouldn't even know where to start. So we can make you more informed because maybe owning a pony isn't the first right step, but we could advise other right steps for you. Yes, okay. So to tackle the problem of kind of, are we more equestrians or paying attention to the vets, we need both of them, and we have to pay attention to both of them. However, we're starting with the equestrians first. So we can easily curate how many veterinarians are in an area. And from there, as we know, we can start to reach out to equestrians and ask them to leave reviews. And as things start to pick up, as we've asked, I know 10 people, and I say, can you please review your vet? And then they tell 10 people, and they each review their vet. There's no way to know if they're going to leave good or bad reviews, but that's where the Equine Pro membership part comes in, because they can make a complete profile as a veterinarian saying, this is where I went to school, maybe things that I'm currently doing research on, these are maybe famous professionals that I have worked for. They can make their own resume, so even if there was one bad review, they can create a better picture of themselves. So it's almost their way of standing up for themselves.
I can see the merit in this idea as I went online last night and didn't find any good horse sites. I mean, there's some out there, like horseadvice.com. I wanted to find something about the whatever malady, and I had to pay for the article, for instance.
It's very difficult, and my mom actually she also grew up riding horses, a huge book, and that's how she used to find like her home remedies, that she would go into the book and she would flip through the pages for everything related to bump, bruise, and swollen, and that was like 100 pages worth of data.
Now the question I have is, it seems as if in getting this thing off the ground that you would be going out to each of these major equestrian shows in 7 or 12 states, whatever the number was. How much time would that tie you up on the road?
It is a lot of time tied up on the road. It's one of those things that it's definitely something I'm personally passionate about, that I would be willing to invest my own time in, but I would have to know that I had already secured the funding in order to then secure that time. I'm currently graduating this May and intending to go to law school and study intellectual property law, kind of in partnership with this idea. But it's one of those things, if I needed to make my plans, I would, but I project 3 years more of schooling, and it would take 3 years to get the site to a point where I'd be ready to go out and promote it. So it could actually work hand in hand in a perfect time.
So my question was already asked really about content and your strategy to getting content in the site. I don't see that you have anybody listed in terms of who will be generating additional content. A lot of this, well, the whole thing has to do with content, right? So you're aggregating content, you're also going to be creating original content, you have to be managing a lot of content. So I just didn't see that listed here as one of the elements of your cost outline. And I guess the question that I have is, have you already identified a developer for the site? And have you taken the idea that's kind of like on paper now and started to sketch out a little bit about what that site experience might look like? Have you identified a developer?
Yes, so I do have someone that would work as my developer, and I went to them first before I ever even kind of completed formulating the idea, because I wanted to know how plausible it was. That's where the numbers came in, how doable it was. And he said, based on kind of the idea of there being the symptom checker and the rate or find your horse helper, it's two very simple pages. So it would actually be a very simple website interface that would then translate well into an app, just because it's so simple in the idea that it's search and result. There's not a lot of complexities in those two kind of pieces initially.
And now our final contestant, Christian Ziron and Theo and Harris.
Once you get to doing research, you see how Rolex has been around for so long.
They're meant to be used. I wear an older no-date sub surfing on a NATO strap. I wear them every day. I wear them to yoga. I wear them playing volleyball.
Yeah. That was me in Germany, jet lag, tired, a broken shell of a man. Sometimes it just comes down to you and your watch. Yeah, it's excessive in some way, but there is an excessiveness to ambition as well.
So here we go. You ask questions, and I answer them. It's super cool because of the gentle design. What are you talking about? I'm done watching. Look, Tiffany stinks. I want to rant for a second about Royal Oak. That, luxury really comes down to saving time and having things your way. Who watch them? There's a lot more I want to talk about, and I will at some point, but right now I'm choosing that. Hello. 200 watches sold, 11 countries, and 4 continents. That's where we've been. 80,000 unique viewers at an average of 6 minutes and 20 seconds per session. That is where we're going. My name is Christian Ziron. I'm a senior here at Seton Hall, and I am Theo and Harris. I started this presentation off with a video to introduce you to my industry, the wristwatch industry, a market that circles around these little old clocks our grandfathers wore on their wrists. I showed you some spokespeople, not for big companies, not on billboards outside the Holland Tunnel, for the industry, people with whom I share a passion. Andre Iguodala of the Golden State Warriors, Matt Jacobson of Facebook, John Mayer of John Mayer. These enormous cultural figures in their spare time, through Instagram, through interviews and other mediums, talk about old watches, Rolex, Omega, Heuer, just to name a few. As a result, the industry has caught fire. Now, historically, vintage wristwatch retailers have catered to a very exclusive market of old farty men in the $10,000 to $100,000 price bracket. But because of the mainstream attention, the repopularization in the media, the audience has expanded. The demand has increased. The young workforce has caught the watch bug. Enter Theo and Harris, a young, trendy, energetic, and opinionated online retailer, focusing directly on that newly found young market. Theo and Harris has reintroduced vintage horology to a new young market. Obsessed with our daily output of value, we have grown far beyond my initial imagination. In the past year, we've built an inventory of wristwatches ranging in price from $500 to $5,000, making them more approachable. In that year, we neared $90,000 in sales. 200 watches, 11 countries, and 4 continents. But I took a step back from these large sales and my growth, and I looked at the big picture. What would actually matter to my company in 5 years? How was it that Theo and Harris could make the largest impact on the market and return the largest long-term return? My answer to this question, attention. I want to own people's attention. I knew that if I could build up a following that trusted and relied on Theo and Harris for their daily news, the site itself would become incredibly valuable. To whom? To advertisers, to large companies with budgets looking to reach other audiences. So, that was in August. And that month, I launched the Theo and Harris blog in supplement to our watch shop. We started off with 1 piece of content per week. I took this piece of content and I promoted it throughout our social media accounts. On Instagram, I used hashtags to spread our content throughout the world. Now we have 15,000 followers. On Twitter, we tweeted at industry leaders, trying to get them to see our content, give us the time of day, maybe retweet. On Snapchat, our most recent and, in my opinion, most valuable social media asset, we have garnered the ability to communicate with our audience constantly. It doesn't end. On their commute to work, during their boring meeting, over their lunch sandwich, on their commute home with their after-dinner drink, it doesn't end. This is an extremely valuable asset. So now where is the blog today? Well, we started with 1 piece of content per week. Now we are at a minimum output of 8 pieces of content per week. With this, we have developed series. First, In the Metal, an in-depth look with photography of new releases of wristwatches. Next, Ask T&H, a series where I react to audience questions through videos. So let's have a look at some charts that will show our momentum. In 1 second. Yes, oh yes, we've been featured in large publications for our momentum, such as Fratello Watches, Hodinkee, Zouch Magazine, and Wound for Life. It's an enormous achievement that we are extremely proud of. Now let's have a look at some charts. Great. So in the month of March 2015 to March 2016, in that period of time, we have experienced a 181% increase in our unique viewership. In that same period of time, we have experienced a 366% increase in our average session duration. In the month of March, just now, we experienced 37,000 unique viewers in just 31 days, averaging at 6 minutes and 20 seconds per view, nearly 2 minutes more than the industry average. This positions Theo and Harris. Yes, we still have a watch shop. In fact, we are on track. Our goal is to reach $250,000 in sales in the next year. But to take a step back now, as I did in August, and look at the big picture, in 1 year, Theo and Harris will have 80,000 unique viewers, averaging 6 minutes per view. Now, this will put us in a position to make the company and the website extremely valuable to larger companies looking to advertise. So, what is that actually worth? Money. Well, there is no guideline. There is no minimum or maximum to the amount of money a website and attention is worth. There are many equations, but I genuinely don't believe in any of them. Our relationships that we could forge with companies like the NFL, BMW, Peroni, are enormous. We are talking about millions of dollars here, not now, but in the long term. Owning this attention is an enormous asset. Theo and Harris has reintroduced vintage watches to a new, younger audience. Obsessed with our value output, Theo and Harris has far exceeded my expectations. With 1 year in hindsight, we are ready to shatter our goals with our hard work and with our patience. I'll leave you with this one thought. The word creative, in Italian, it means creare, to build, to develop, to think, to nurture an idea and to make it happen. Creative is not people who dream, it's people who actually do deliver, do produce things that may have been dreams, but which have become realities. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is Theo and Harris. Thank you. I forgot about questions entirely. I was ready to run out.
Thank you very much. So if you were to kind of, put it right in one, are you an e-com? Are you a lifestyle? Are you a watch company?
It's a watch company, and every weekend now we are looking to expand our outreach, talking about alcohol, talking about food, to encompass not only a larger market, but even women, because our market is really men from 20 to 50. So I do want to expand that. So we are a watch company, but we absolutely understand that people's interests don't end at watches.
Mm-hmm.
On the weekends, people like to drink and eat.
And I have to pass it on because you have 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, is this an advertising medium or a sales operation?
Well, it is both. In the long term, our advertising is what I'm really putting in for. Now, our sales absolutely keep us above water and profitable. Although our sales are definitely, I would trade them off in the long term, they are keeping me in this business. And I don't take any salary. I haven't made $1 from Theo and Harris, despite our financial success. But they allow me to continue growing with our expenses, which are large.
We didn't see any financials really. What kind of investment do you think it's going to take? I mean, content is, as Ray and I could both attest, is a deceptively expensive business. So what type of investment do you think it's going to take to get you to the point where you can get the kind of advertising attention you desire?
I'm currently, apart from Pirates Pitch, I'm not looking for any additional investment. We have a tremendous output of content per week. Like I said, I am very proud of our engagement of 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The largest player in the field has a number of 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So I think that because of the genuine nature and the frequency and kind of, frankly, the vulgarity to a point, because we are very young and aggressive, we have been able to get a lot for a lot less in the market.
So you definitely have my attention. I'm a big fan of watches.
I noticed when you came in, yeah.
And I'm going to go on your website and find my new watch. So I like the concept. You're bringing back the nostalgic period of when people used to adore watches, and you're creating a lifestyle around it. And you're trying to bring advertisers to your website based on your number of followers that you have. So who is Theo and Harris besides you?
The team?
Yeah.
So the team is 4 members, including myself. Our first member, apart from myself, is a fellow named Aaron. He's our webmaster. He's on salary, but he's become actually one of my greatest friends. His job essentially is every month is not to keep social media, keep the website for sure, but more so site engine optimization. So he has a great understanding of how it is that Google does scan our site and does optimize that. So at the moment, we are on the top of page 2 for vintage wristwatches, which really yields us very little return. But we started on page 42. So I think that our project is in the next 3 to 4 months at most, we will be on page 1, and that will yield a larger return. That's our first member. Next, we have Anna here, who is our editor and who is our photographer. Wonderful. And we handle all the matters together, wearing all the hats, right? My mother is the last one. She's sitting in the audience, and she is the shipper and handler because the people at the post office don't like how I'm always in a rush. So she's managed that wonderfully, and that's the Theo and Harris team.
Where do you get your content from?
Sorry?
Your content, like your...
Yeah, I write 90% of our content. We have guest writers. I try to do 2 guest posts per week, and it's all pro bono. It's people that genuinely love what we do and want to just share their opinion. Instead of paying, which there are plenty of people that have submitted applications to be paid to write, we've gone down the avenue of, hey, we'll put your Instagram handle, you're going to get followers, and you have a job anyway. They're professional writers. So we edit these things, we edit these articles, 5-minute reads, 8-minute reads, and post them. And we've had wonderful success with part-time writers just having some fun.
So your primary objective is to generate ad dollars.
Absolutely.
Retention rate of 6 minutes is, or 6 minutes per session, right?
It's 20 seconds, yeah.
Impressive. Has anyone approached you thus far asking to advertise?
We've had a couple of companies come to us. A company called Undone Watches had just approached us last week and was kind of trying to sift out an advertising deal. But I'm not someone who's been in the advertising business before. So my opinion, at least thus far, is if we can afford to hold out, if we can afford to grow and then monetize with a larger account as opposed to dabbling with small accounts first, and I'm not saying straight to BMW, but I really don't want to do a small account just for short-term money. I'm much more interested in the long-term relationship.
Awesome. So how long is the average video length, the videos that you put out? What's the average length of those?
Right now, there's about 4 minutes. So initially, we were up to 18 minutes. I wanted to bring value so badly. I was up to 18-minute videos, and no one was watching full 18 minutes, because who am I? But at our 4-minute videos, we have an enormous, all the way through. People really aren't clicking out. They're watching the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yes, oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
How did you hit on 80,000 as like the magic number?
Well, we looked at, right now we're at 37,000 unique viewers. So I really do not want to overpromise viewership. I would hate to set ourselves up for failure. I think that would be a disaster. So I am absolutely confident that we can double our viewership in the next year.
But is that the same number that you think large advertisers are interested in?
No.
Okay, so at what point do you think then that large advertisers will
So from my understanding of the market, and I have a couple of friends that have succeeded in this business before, so I have a little bit of understanding on that level. Advertisers look more so for clicks than it is unique. So right now we are at 60,000 clicks per month. So really, advertisers, at least from what I've understood thus far, are interested in around 150 clicks per month. Whereas right now we are only, we're half.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So this is quite exciting, and I think we all agree that there were some wonderful presentations here. I'm going to start with the Audience Choice Award. The Audience Choice Award goes to Christian Zieren and his team for Theo and Harris. Second place goes to Shalea Lyons for Together We Conquer. And the 2016 Pirates Pitch winner is Christian Zieren and his team, Theo and Harris.